Okay. So we'll start our Westtown Township Board of Supervisors workshop here, Monday, July 6th, 2026, and we're at 6:35. And we're going to go over the preliminary review of the refuse fund for the 2027 budget.
So the township staff is starting working on preliminary budget for 2027. In conversations with our financial advisor, we decided to start with the refuse fund for several reasons. One of those is to make sure that the amount of money that's being collected via trash fees, refuse and recycling fees is enough to cover what we have under the existing contract. And also to see if any changes needs to be made for 2027 and 2028 budget planning for the future based on that. So we put together the 2027 refuse fund draft budget. What you can see on revenue side, hold on, I'll just go here. So on the revenue side, it shows you what we collected so far by the end of May of 2026 on the solid waste collection and what we are projecting to collect. So the projection is based on the number of utility bills, which is 3324, that was projected for this year, times $130 quarterly bill that goes out to the township residents. So that was projected for 2026. Proposed for 2027, we do anticipate potential sewer connections if Stonecroft and Stokes Estate land development will go through. Maybe not this year, but in the next couple of years, there might be a possibility of additional 78 homes being connected to public sewer. Because it's such a small number of homes, it would not really impact. Oh, for the refuse, I'm sorry, for refuse, sorry. That's for the sewer. So it would be such a minor addition. And then you can see the other revenue streams include the recycling grant. In talking to Pam, our recycling coordinator, usually there is a big lag time of when we submit for the grant application versus when the money is received. We have not received any grant money for 2025, for 2026, or 2024 as well. Submitted yet, yes. So normally we would put in a budget that we expect about 10,000 over the years prior to 2024. We were getting somewhere between 17,000 to 26,000. So it really varied greatly. So just to be on the conservative side, that's what we are looking for 2027. The delinquent collections have been pretty much between $15,000 to $20,000 in the past 5 years. Hazard waste reimbursement, the same, it's under $2,000. So that just gives you on revenue side of what we are expecting for 2027. On expenditure side, couple things to note. So the main item is on the 427 solid waste collection and a contract. So we are currently in optional year 1 of the contract, which is 1.29216 in terms of the dollar amounts. For the 2027, which is optional year 2, is $1.4 million, the contracted amount. So that's our trash contract would, at that time, would expire by the end of 2027. On other expenditures includes refuse wages, solicitor fees, general government administration such as municipal credit card fees. So when people utilize municipal system, the online payment system, we have to pay those credit card fees out of that fund. And then the recycling special projects, those can, it varies, but it's primarily like e-recycling events and things like that. Household hazard materials collections that the township organizes. So that's the cost for those. So looking at the budget, when we spoke with Peter Bars, whether or not we shall be increasing the fee for the next year, the recommendation had been no, unless you are foreseeing a significant increase for contract year 2028 for a new contract. So before entertaining any questions, I think it's worthwhile to go to the next agenda items where we can provide an overview of the trash and recycling services, because that kind of ties back into the budget and suggestion. Okay.
Were there any questions on the budget?
No, I don't think.
None?
Well, so we're in deficit $124,000 basically right now, right?
So if we are
For
projecting,
2027.
yes, projecting for the end of this year. So we are just gonna be dipping into whatever cushion we have in that refuse fund.
Right. And the alternative is to raise fees.
Correct. For next year and probably for the following year.
Well, have you projected what fees, or what the increase would be?
So it all depends on what we expect in terms of the contract. So right now, East Goshen Township has their contract out. The bids are due today. So their services are somewhat similar to Westtown Township. So Peter wanted to see what those bids would come in at.
I'm
so
talking
he
about
could present.
2027 right now.
For 2027. So the suggestion was to keep it as is and not to raise it for next year.
Okay.
Unless the bids that we would see that come in for East Goshen are such significant increases that the board might want to consider increases for 2027 so that there is no drastic increase for
Exactly.
2028.
So it might be
But it's hard to
worthwhile.
predict.
Well, it might be worthwhile to figure out what might be a gradual increase then, so.
So we thought that it would be worthwhile to show you preliminary budget for 2027 in terms of the revenue and expenditures, and then provide information about existing contract services, because I don't believe Jody ever participated in a discussion as well as Fred. So that would provide you a base information. And then once we have more about what those bid results were, we can come back to the refuse fund and ask our financial consultant to crunch some numbers and provide recommendation based on that information that was received. But it would really, whether or not you decide to increase the fee, would highly depend on what type of service, what type of bids that we would go out sometime in 2027 for the contract.
Right.
So, okay, so current trash and recycling services, Pam, do you want to go over that, or I can?
Well. So the first slide is just showing the contract history. As Mila mentioned, we're in option year 1 of the contract, and we have a second option year for 2027. The current contract provides for, as you all probably well know, collection once a week for trash and recycling. Bulk item collection the contract was initially written for a bulk item day once a month and up to 3 items. But in order to sort of even out the loads that they were experiencing, they approached us last year to change, earlier this year, actually.
This year.
To change to allowing 1 bulk item every pickup. So essentially it's 4 items a month, but 1 item per week. So, and there was no increase to us for that. That was just something that they requested of us and of East Goshen in order to help even out their loads. It's very unpredictable, as you can imagine, bulk day, what that looks like. And
Well, that's quite a change, really. I mean, it was like once a month. Now it's like once a week or.
right, 1 item once a week versus 3 items once a month.
Okay, all right.
So, and with the recycled material, the way the current contract is written is the hauler owns the material. So once they pick it up, they take it to their facility in York, and their MRF and materials recycling facility in York. And then we have basically once a month yard waste in November. In November and December, we do 2. So that's an overview of the current contract. And then, you know, since 2 of you haven't been a part of this before, we just thought it might be good to get you to start thinking about, do we want to make any changes to the service? What those changes might look like. As Mila mentioned, East Goshen is currently out to bid. They're the only neighboring municipality that is very much like us in terms of their level of service. They actually provide trash twice a week and recycling once a week. And yard waste is twice a month instead of once a month. But they don't do auto loading and we don't do auto loading, so that's very comparable. And their bid opening is actually the 9th, so it's not,
Tonight,
so
yeah.
this week. And they're currently bidding it with a lot of options. So they're bidding trash twice a week and once a week. So there's options for the bidders. Bulk, same kind of thing. They're bidding more items once a month versus 1 item a week. They are not a part, or no, they are a part of the county's P&M contract, the processing and marketing contract for recyclables. So that would be another question, you know, do we want to examine that? Basically, what that would mean is in our contract, we would write in that the hauler has to, you know, take the material to either Birdsboro or King of Prussia to the county site, and they have to agree to the pricing that is dictated by that contract, that county contract, which 11 municipalities participate in.
Well, who actually does the hauling?
Our hauler would do it. I mean, you could write a separate contract altogether, but most people just have it part of their trash contract. So the hauler doesn't own the recycling, they just haul it to the county designated MRF.
And what are the potential savings of that?
Well, that's hard to say. There's savings in that recycled material, you still pay less to recycle than you do to tip it in the landfill. Like it's about $86 a ton for trash, and the recycling in the P and M contract varies by, commodity, whatever the conditions are that month. It literally varies monthly what the township is having to pay, but it's been between, I think, like 45 and $60 a ton,
compared to,
86 to landfill.
okay, right. Could you,
But you're not getting money anymore. I mean, the P and M contract initially was designed to have, back when recyclables were worth something, when China was buying them, it was designed to say, okay, look, we have this many municipalities bringing their recycled material to you. So it was economies of scale.
could you explain what pay as you throw contracts, how that would work?
So that would basically be, people who have more trash pay more.
Right,
So what that would look like would mean, usually it means residents have to buy bags or toters from the township.
Like West Whiteland Township.
Yeah, they,
Right.
and, monthly, there's a flat annual fee. The way Whiteland works, they have an annual fee of like two and a quarter, plus then you pay per bag. It's, a couple
Right.
bucks per bag.
Well, that is a fair way of doing it, I would imagine.
True.
I mean, there's few people in my neighborhood that probably put out 10 cans a week, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is all over the place, and sometimes you look at it and you say, yeah, no, I'm paying the same amount as that person. So these are things to consider,
Right.
and, reducing, I don't know, reducing it unless we went to every other week. There are minor changes that we could make. We could charge for things. It's been, thrown out before, like, do we charge for mattresses? Or, right now we don't charge we pay $35 a mattress, but we don't pass that on to the resident. But that's between maybe $600 and $1,000 a year that we pay in mattress fees.
Do most townships that are facing a contract renewal, I mean, do they do surveys of their residents, or how do they arrive at what levels of service to include in their contract?
Well, I can't speak for I haven't seen many surveys. It's been a while since we did one, but I don't know that the survey is really gonna be that beneficial, because historically, you don't get a lot of responses on your surveys, and you don't get the kind of percentage response on any survey that it's really gonna be that helpful. And then, you're gonna have those people that, like yourself, or maybe that are gonna say, oh, I wanna pay less, or I don't wanna, I wanna do pay as you throw. And then you're gonna have a lot of, big families that are gonna say, no, I don't want that. I like it that it's, right now it's pretty loosely written as a normal household amount. We don't dictate the number of bags or receptacles that you can have out. If somebody's clearly doing a house clean out or a garage clean out, and, they won't get that, but
Yeah, so just a quick update, the Westchester Area Council of Governments municipalities have discussed this subject
Right,
for quite some time now. And there was a talk about potentially going to the contract together, like maybe multiple municipalities. But because trash and recycling service is so dependent on density of the neighborhood, the lengths of mileage traveled, the location, geographical location, It's from the discussions, it seems like it's still gonna cost the same amount of money that whether you are part of the other municipality or not. And then every single municipality has a different expiration date on their contract. So it's almost like you have to make it happen if you would like to explore that option. So we provided the recent municipal contracts that are out there. So East Goshen is close to us. They have the same timelines. So their option 2-year expires next year. I think they decided to go out to bid this year to see what type of pricing they would get instead of utilizing their optional year. West Whiteland Township have done a full study. They actually they've talked a lot about the issues they are having with pay as you throw program with the bags. Some bags would rip. Sometimes people would not place them where they should be placed because there is an aspect of education that comes with every type of service. So West Whiteland actually is building their own trash facility, but they have the land and they have ability to do so. So it's really probably not comparable to West Town unless the township decides to go full in-house with the trash services. And then West Goshen Township just it's curious. The reason why I put it on the board is because they have this automated service. So it's not meant, it's you don't have a personnel. So the issue with auto loaders, or a couple of issues that were discussed among municipalities, is that you are limited on amount of trash because you only get two or one. Is it one? I thought it was two.
Sorry.
Yeah. So if you have trash kind of spill over, they're not going to pick it up. There's just a driver and an auto loader. Also due to topography and vegetation, and if somebody would park the car on a road. So there are some issues that they've experienced over the years with all different scenarios because the auto loader has to stop at specific location to load it. You have to place the trash cans in such a way that's easy to do. But from having those conversation municipalities, a couple of things are pretty clear. Number one is that there is the cost of service will not go down. It would gradually increase. It is very difficult to conduct a survey to determine what are the cost savings. Is it better to go with auto loading versus the type of a service that we have with personnel right now? Because partially is that the contractors would not really be upfront with you to say what can save you some money and reduction in price. So, and then part of it is the quality of service that the residents got used to. So right now they got used to putting, through trash cans, a couple of bags, and they know the trash would get picked up on a weekly basis, and that's the service they get. So the suggestion is to see what East Goshen bids come at, because it's pretty close to our service. We would have to kind of quantify that to see how it compares to West Town Township. But then it's really worthwhile to think about if any of those things that are listed here, any of the considerations, to give them a very serious thought, like a fuel price adjustment clause. I think that's important to include. Our existing contract does not include that. Contract lengths as well. We on a 3-year contract. It seems, in speaking with other municipalities, the longer the contract, there is a reduction in price, so to speak.
Has Thornbury gone back to pick your own trash hauler?
Sunbury, Chester County.
Yeah, they have. And from what I understand.
That's another option.
That's another option, actually. From what I understand, people are pretty happy about that.
Yeah, the main issue with pick your own hauler, you end up having trash trucks on your street all the time, Monday through Friday, at different times of the day versus just one on Mondays or one on Thursdays.
A lot of repair on the roads and a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like there would be savings, right? If somebody's picking up trash at every place versus picking up here and there, they're probably wasting a lot of gas and tossing.
Well,
Hang on, those
if the
expenses.
residents pay directly, there is really no cost to the
Right.
township.
Right, but it's the residents are paying more probably.
Correct.
but from what I understand, residents tend to, in a neighborhood, jointly work out a deal with
Mm.
a hauler. So
Okay.
one hauler takes care of a neighborhood if they can.
And there are communities who just, where residents just take their trash to a landfill and recycling facilities, the
Oh,
further west you go.
okay, well,
So, but yeah, we just wanted to kind of bring this, educate new supervisors about our existing contract and considerations and challenges when it comes to that. Look at the numbers and, get your feedback, your thoughts in terms of, is there something that we need to explore any further? We talked a little bit about the surveys. Is it worthwhile to complete any sort of a survey and exactly what we are looking for?
Can we go to bid now and specify that it's going to start in 2028?
mm,
It doesn't work like that? Okay.
no.
I don't know.
They're not going to respond anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who would have done that. If you go to bid too early. I mean, they would still do a price adjustment, but I don't know if they would bid for the contract.
Okay.
So Easttown has auto loader.
Okay,
And they have a lot of problems with because after they leave the trash can, they invariably leave it next to the mailbox and the mailman won't put the mail in. So they're
Mhm.
trying to work that out to get some distance between the mailbox. Something you never really think about, but that's their problem right now.
yeah, and any new transition to new service, it's gonna be, it's not going to be smooth. So if Westtown decides to transition from the service we have to anything else, it's gonna take some adjustment from the residents and from the staff as well.
Well, I think we have to somehow get some meaningful feedback from residents because,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure the best way to do it. I don't know if we have a
I mean, can we do
a
a
trash
campaign?
task force again
Yeah.
or something, but that's,
I mean, could we do, not that this is fun, but could we do something like a West Town Day, like fill out our, tell us how you feel about various issues?
Well, and
Trash.
I think that's what Pam was talking about, the survey that was done. The township was asking residents about what type of service, are you happy with the type of service you have now? I guess the main concern would be you probably have to bring people into the room first to educate them. If you ask him a question, would you prefer auto loading or pay as you go? They might not know what that means. It's almost like you have to educate them first before asking them for their opinion. And I guess the question would come up, if we are saving $1 million, sure, but it's hard to show those numbers in comparison. It's hard to say, what if we do exact same service, but with
well,
auto
if
load?
people know that they used to pay, $75.
Oh, it was
once, now they're paying
75.
$150. I think they can do the math. So, I mean, I think that's,
I don't think there's any way we're going to get back to a point where you're paying less. I mean, honestly, I think it's just a matter of how to decrease the increase.
Yeah.
And
But
again,
it's a question of what services do people really care about? I mean, do they really need yard waste pickup every week? I don't know. I mean,
yes.
I think if they,
No, I don't know.
we've
Yeah.
tried to teach people that, maybe you can do a little bit of composting
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
they don't.
They don't want it. They
It's not
want,
hard.
yeah, I know. I mean, I've had conversations with plenty of residents who have acre properties and say they can't find a 6x6 area in their yard to compost.
Well, I think that yard waste and recycling is a requirement. If the municipality chooses to do trash,
Oh.
I believe that's the case.
Yeah, you are by Act
Pretty
101.
fun.
We do have to provide at least once a month.
Right.
Okay.
So we can't get rid of it altogether, but you can certainly increase, try to encourage composting, which
Right.
we always.
Yeah,
do.
like last-
And the EAC
Yeah.
does. They've done
job.
workshops and presentations at West Town Day and, so.
And when we're thinking about decrease, it's not that, let's say you put out 2 bags and would be great if you just put out 1 bag of yard waste. It's more like we are seeing properties that put out 30 to 40
Oh, I
bags of
see
yard
it all over
waste.
the place. It's crazy.
So it's just like 2 properties and the truck is full and then it has to come back. So that's why they bid higher pricing too, because they want to make sure they offset their cost for that.
Right.
And I don't know if you can put in a trash and recycling and yard waste contract to say that it's only for 2 bags of yard waste, and then the rest people have to figure out what to do with.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even with bulky waste and, I do have some figures, but, that's one area where we could eliminate bulk waste and basically make people, if
Okay.
call or pay if they want a bulk pickup, they notify the township and tell us what they have. And, so that would be one way, but that's still not going to be a huge chunk of money. I mean, I think in terms of the 2028 contract, the 2 big questions are auto loading and pay as you throw. I mean, if we're going to make a change, it would be one of those 2 things. And I think that if you cruise the township, you're going to have more people who are not going to want pay as you throw than people who do want that. Meaning there's more people that put out a lot of trash than people that put out a small amount. And
Yeah,
then
we
the
have- I
auto
think we just have-
loading could, again, it could lower the increase in the contract cost because it's less manpower, it's, lower liability.
And then they can
For them.
calculate how much trash to expect.
Yeah,
because
they know you
Wow.
get 1 toter, but then you're gonna have those folks that are like, I can't live on 1 96-gallon toter a week. I need to buy a second toter, so your fee structure is gonna have to, what if I need 2? What if I need 3? I don't,
people
who's
just-
gonna own those toters? I mean, typically if you go to that, the township, that would have to be written into the contract because who's gonna buy and own the toters when they break?
Right.
Typically, the township owns them. When they break, you gotta replace them.
Well, there's a very limited number of haulers left out there now. There
That's
aren't
true, too.
too many.
Yeah.
I mean, is it worthwhile to have some preliminary dialogue with them saying, okay, how can we, what will you reduce our costs if we do such and such?
Well, again, as Mila said, they're a little cagey on that and you can understand why.
Yeah, we've
But
had
they-
them at
They
the
would tell
meetings.
you flat out that auto loading is
Yes.
gonna save them more.
Right.
Yeah, they attended a couple of Westchester Area Cog meetings, and they stated if you want to decrease the increase, auto loading is the way to go.
Right. But even with auto loading, you can have 1 bin or you can pay for 2 bins, maybe. I don't know. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah.
We have to look at the.
It's almost like auto loading with
numbers
pay
and
as you
How
go.
we're gonna structure it, we'd have to yeah, figure that out. What kind of option we'd offer to people. Do they just have to buy the second toter themselves? You know,
Or do you have like a service where you pay for 2 toters per
right.
house or
level,
one,
right,
depending on
pay-
your, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's either that or pay as you throw or keep it the same.
And I have to say on administrative side of things, it's easier when there is a base fee because then it's more cost on administrative side of things to run. Because right now we run all the bills and it's just the same quarterly
Right.
bill. But then if we have to revise that and we have to individualize, like this household pays for 3 and this for 4, then we need additional, probably additional person just to oversee that because it's going to be a lot of work trying to figure out how to make it work too. And how administer.
Yeah, likewise with bulk item, you know, if we change how we do that, you know, all these things have a ripple effect. Which is why we kind of wanted to get ahead of it and think
Right.
about it early.
And with the change in the corporate structure of our current vendor, have you noticed any changes that affected you?
Well, they are not family owned anymore.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's a phone tree when you call them instead of a person and, you know, the usual. I would say that, there's been fewer breakdowns, like if there's an interruption, it's not usually due to a piece of equipment.
If you notice the way they pick up the trash now, they don't cross the street. They go up the street. And
Yes.
go back.
Yeah,
It's much safer for their employees.
yeah. Yeah, they're very big on safety. And talking to our municipal supervisor, it takes about 6 months for a loader to be fully cleared. They send them to Texas for training. They do ride-alongs for, you know, at least a month before they're let loose. I mean, they take it very seriously. As soon as they set foot in their lot, they're expected to put on their safety gear and they get hit up just walking from their car into work if they don't put on their gear. There's pluses and minuses, but East Goshen's contract will be very telling, and I think that information will be very helpful to the decision, but, you know, there will be other considerations. Like I said, if you want to really think about it, we're going to have to determine whether we want to make any significant changes to service. The auto loading is also, you think about flag lots, like, you know.
Well, we have time and 2027, we know we're going to continue with what we do, but when do we start the process for?
I think we should go to bid next summer if we're,
Yeah.
you know,
Usually we start like 6
Yeah.
months before the contract
Okay.
expires.
yeah.
So there's a little bit, there's a little bit of time, but at the same time, it's all about how much analysis you would like to complete. Because for any study, you probably would want about a year to do any sort of study.
Right.
But the survey is faster, but
I don't know. Well, maybe we should have some public meetings on this, if nothing else. Just.
We could, yeah.
Well, we don't exactly have a cast of thousands out here.
we do have some people here.
Yeah, do we have opinions?
Well, you can always send everybody a letter to say that the fee might increase by $100 and then you're gonna have a full room.
Get their attention. Sure.
Or you could do the survey and let us know what you think.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, it's, but I think that's why we decided to start with with refuse fund, just because if there are changes, we kind of need to keep on top of it. We'll review East Goshen contracts, talk to our financial consultant, gather some additional information. Maybe it's another good topic to bring up at the next COG meeting to see where everybody is with their contracts and what they are seeing in terms of increases. Because we hear it's 40 to 50% increase, but it really depends on, you cannot compare each municipality to Westtown because some are more densely populated and, it's, everybody's profile is so different. So, but we'll keep on top of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, maybe we want to hear from some of the. folks.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if anybody has an opinion on trash and wants to make a public
Right.
comment on our workshop items today, I think that would be really helpful.
I have questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Has there been any outreach to any of the other townships to find like a volume discount potential?
Yes, we talk about it in our COG meetings.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that has happened or will happen?
No, it has happened.
It's happened, but it's more like it's discussion because every municipality has their own board of supervisors as well, different needs. So we talked about it, but it did not progress past just regular discussions. Nobody said, let's go ahead, proactively pursue this idea.
So no one expressed interest in forming an alliance?
No, all we talked about, every year we kind of compare our trash contracts. Every time other municipalities' contract comes up to be bid out. And there is a talk about, how about we'll try to partner together in the next 2 years to go out for a contract together, but it doesn't come to any fruition.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then the pay-as-you-throw option, is it possible to suspend that option? Have a subscription model? So for those people who only live here for 6 months out of the year, be like, I don't need your service for 6 months.
I believe they still pay annual fee and then they pay for the tote. So you pay annual fee and then you purchase the totes that you need. So if you don't live here for 6 months, so you would probably spend less money because for 6 months you don't need to buy a tote. But you still have to pay an annual fee. How they determine that annual fee, we would have to take a look. I'm not quite sure. Maybe on the cost of a contract.
Okay, and we're still on the same contract where the prior township manager failed to fulfill his contractual obligations, costing the township and residents tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Just with multiple extensions?
So it is the existing contract that the Board of Supervisors authorized the township manager to sign that expires at the end of next year.
Yeah, let's nuance that a little bit. I'm asking about whether the prior township manager from 2020 to March of 2023 failed to fulfill his contractual obligations. So is that the same contract? Yes?
Well, I believe we only have one contract. So it is the
that's
same.
a
contract.
yes by default then. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Joe Davis, 1116 Chateau Drive. Couple quick comments. There's a lot to take in here for you guys to consider. I'm going to throw a couple more at you. This recycle cans with lids. The cans that we have. Often you see trash just blowing out all over the place to come out of the cans because they're open top.
Mhm.
So that's another thing to consider.
Okay.
I don't know how much impact it would have, but if there was a commercial composting option that the township considered, I don't know if that would play into this as well. Like Malvern Borough has a commercial composting thing. That may be totally separate, but it's something to consider. And then maybe the EAC could support the Board of Supervisors with a workshop with like Lancaster landfill or some of these haulers. Maybe we could support this effort by doing some digging and getting some research done for you guys to help move the process along. Something to consider.
Sure.
Yeah, I think those are some fabulous ideas.
Okay.
Jack Embick, 189 Pheasant Run Road. Whatever changes you make, you will likely have to confront the issue of short dumping, which means people are dumping their waste illegally. And you'll have to set up a system to try to enforce that, police it, and clean it up. The city of Philadelphia, while it is vastly different than Westtown Township, has this problem. and they spend millions of dollars.
So, can I ask a question, Jack? So is that an issue where they're spending millions of dollars cleaning up the trash that people are illegally dumping?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you, that's another thing to consider. If you require, if you don't provide residents a service where the bulk pickup is included, they are more likely to dump it somewhere, or they can hire contractor, so they might pay contractor to come and pick it up. Some independent contractor person, and then that independent contractor might dump like a tire in the Chester Creek or somewhere else. That's common as well. Because then you have no ability to track where this trash goes, because they just don't want to pay to Blazinski. They would pay somebody else, which resident would think I am getting savings while the trash might end up somewhere else.
There's one point too, that, we have another trash dump area, and that's on 926. You go all the way down to Chatham. It's Chester County, dump there. And, hardly anybody from Chester County goes there, so Chadds Ford takes advantage of it and tells everybody we're from the cops and so forth, and they use it. It's one of the best kept secrets. Just go straight down 926
Hmm.
to Chatham here, see it.
Okay.
Pat McDonough, 7 Oakbourne Road, Westchester. I just want to thank Pam and the board for safeguarding the township's money and looking at this early on and not doing this last minute. So I appreciate you guys doing that. One, I think the trash service has been excellent. I have had no complaints whatsoever. I think maybe composting, maybe we set up a composting, not dump, but composting pile by the community garden and invite people to compost their goods there. It does go back to Jack's notion of safeguarding who dumps what there, but maybe have it by the community garden where the community can use that compost.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Firstly, for Bill, this is not the same contract. Yeah, the existing, this contract, started in 2023. So, yeah, you're welcome. And then Joe, regarding, closed recycling containers, I agree 100% that might, decrease roadside debris from, and if we did go to some auto loading system, those are lidded, hinged, closed containers. As far as a compost facility, two things about that. One, they need to be regulated by, they are
DEP.
regulated by DEP, and they, the township has to follow their guidelines. I don't know all the details, but I do know that they have to be staffed all the time. They have to be fenced. I really don't think that we have a place that would meet, where we could put that. That's something that we'd have to think about. And then if you want me to look into that, can certainly, get more information on that. But in terms of the overall tonnage that we're talking for, leafy waste and yard debris, it's a drop in the proverbial bucket. I mean, we're talking about, so I have the statistics for all of 2025. It was 152 tons of wood waste and 189 tons of leaf waste, as opposed to, 3,300 tons of trash. We also pay a lot less. The tipping fee is a lot lower for leaf waste. It's less from October to January. It's $25 a ton. And from February to October, end of September, it's $55 a ton. So it's less than trash, which is $86 a ton. So.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, do we have any other public comment on the workshop items from today?
No.
Okay, then we'll close the meeting and reconvene at 7:30 for our supervisors